All right, welcome everyone, and it's great to be here to have this session to think about sports and young people. We're pleased to have Joe with us, the CEO of Kick, and you will hear more about what this Kick is. And it's a ministry about how to connect through sport with young people in schools and also through academies that we can have in the church, making the church effective and reach out young generations. So I'm very much looking forward for this because, as you know, that we had just recently talked in our churches and in the London Baptist about the quiet revival and how that young people are actually hungry for the word of God and coming to church and coming to faith. What a great opportunity to also learn how our churches can connect with young people through sport and reach out to them and make them able to connect with the Lord. Joe brings a lot of wealth of experience, not just because he's leading Kick, but also he has been also a principal of outstanding school for a long time before coming to this. Kick is reaching over 100 schools in UK and also are having over 30 academies. I really look forward to see how will be possible for us to do as well. As you know, that our desire is to have a practical model that we can engage and apply in our churches. While we love theology about mission, but the Mission Hub is all about practical stuff that we can do. And this is really at the heart of it. It's something that the church can reach out and engage with the schools and in their communities, and also making a long-term investment through Kick Academy. Well, I'm sure Joe will speak much more about how we can move from here. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you so much, Honey. It's a real privilege to be here and very, very excited to be amongst you. My name is Joe. I've recently become an elder at our church. We don't have a pastor model. It's an independent evangelical church. So I'm getting to know what it's like to lead a church as a volunteer. But I'm very excited to also share today with you about our work at Kick. And I'm really, really excited to share that with you today. So I'm just going to share screen, and may I just ask Hanny, what I was thinking was maybe to share for a period of time and then have a period of time for questions before the end.
Yeah.
What sort of time should I sort of cut off your end? What would be your preference?
Yeah, I mean, I think wherever the Lord leads you, but maybe let's start with 25 minutes or so. But
Perfect.
feel free. We will learn from you anyway.
Thank you, honey. That's great. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you a testimony about what God has been doing with Kick. We are a ministry that was founded in Southwest London that has recently gone national as a movement. So although we are now as far north as Newcastle and as far south as Plymouth, our HQ is in Richmond upon Thames, and we are very proud to work in London and for Londoners. And so again, we're always keen to go deeper as well as wider, and would be very excited to look at ways we could collaborate with you. So what I'll do is I'll share with you this testimony. I'm going to take you through three things this morning around our motivation, our mission, and thirdly, our movement. And as I do this, if any questions, thoughts, ideas, feelings come to mind, please jot them down and we'll have ample time for the question and answer at the end. And I'd like to offer each church today an opportunity to catch up. I'd love to talk with you further and look at how we might contextualize our work to what you're doing, if that could at all be helpful. So I'll take you through these three things, share this testimony, and then we'll have time for questions and can take things from there. I want to talk first about motivation. We are motivated for a variety of different reasons, but I'm going to share with you some of the reasons why we're motivated that are hard and some of the reasons we're motivated which are exciting. First of all, let's deal with the tough stuff. Children and young people are expressing a sense of hopelessness. 1 in 3 15-year-olds identify with a mental health condition. 95% of children and young people are not, sadly, in church at all. 3 million grow up in lone parent families, and UNICEF identifies fatherlessness as one of the 4 pillars of global poverty. And then 3 out of 5 16 to 24-year-olds would say they feel disillusioned with life. These facets contribute towards this sense of hopelessness. And so we want to make a difference, to give them a hope for the future and a joy in the present. And one of the things is hot off the press. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but they've just produced a report called From Gen Z to Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha are the new set of young people, but Gen Z, as Hanny helpfully articulated, are seeing a huge revival. They are the ones purchasing more Bibles than ever before and giving more money to charity than in a percentage of their income than any other generation at present. And so here is some of the statistics. The number of young people who consider themselves a follower of Jesus has increased by 12% in 5 years. Praise the Lord. 67% of young people say that they now believe in God or believe in spiritual beings, spiritual forces. Hooray, and let's be careful. That is good and bad, isn't it? Again, here, 19% of all young people would say they've had a spiritual experience, an increase of 8% in the last 5 years. And the number of young people who believe in God has increased by 16%. This is encouraging. And across that 10 years, we are encouraged that a quiet revival is taking place amongst children and young people. And so these two things, really, these two wings inspire us to make a difference. That we see a sense of hopelessness, but we believe in a God that can bring a hope for the future and a joy in the present. And so these things motivate us around our mission, which is to transform young people's lives with God's love through sport and support. And so we have a vision to reach a generation of young people within a generation of time. When I first came to Kick, and I've now been at Kick for 10 years, somebody gave me a scripture from John's Gospel. It was where Jesus said, night is coming when no one can work. So do the work of him who sent me. And so there is an urgency for us, let's do the work of him who sent us, because night is coming when no one can work. While it is still daytime, let's reach children and young people before it's too late. And let's be urgent about that. I don't know if you know this, but 89% of people that are Christians in the West give their life to the Lord before the age of 23. So the low-hanging fruit of people to get saved are children and young people. And let's reach a generation within a generation. So I'm going to take you through just a summary of our solution. This is our model. We are heartbroken that only 4.5% of kids are in church. And we'd love to fill churches with kids. I don't know about you, but I have 3 sons. There are more children than adults in my family. I long for a day when we have more children than adults in our church families. They are 20% of our present, but they are 100% of our future. And so again, let's take this seriously. If they're not in church, where on earth are they? They're in school. So we go into schools and we deliver 4 things: physical education, street dance, mentoring, and chaplaincy. And we take the young people on a journey out of school and into church through a stepping stone called a Kick Academy, which is where we upskill local people from local churches to reach local children and young people. And something that's really been exciting for us is that we've seen a number of occasions.
Sure.
Children, young people, yes.
I'm sorry, your voice is getting a little bit quieter. Maybe, I don't know, the battery or...
Let me just I'll swap over my headphones.
Yeah,
Give me 1 second. I'll
sure.
just swap those out. 1 second, won't be a minute.
Sorry about that, everyone. Just be
Is that
patient.
better? Is that better, Hanny?
That's very good. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
my apologies, everybody. I do apologize. I hope you've been able to hear some of what I've shared. Uh,
No,
but yeah, so we go into schools and we do these four things, and then we welcome the kids into church for Sunday morning, Sunday school, youth work or discipleship through the Kick Academies. Now, I was previously a principal of an outstanding school. I was there for 9 years, and I felt called out of that and into mission. And and it was one of those things I don't know about you guys. You guys have all known a call into church leadership, but I came kicking and screaming. I don't know about you, but again, it was something that I sort of resisted for a year, and then I felt God really speak to me really clearly, and He spoke to me 3 times in a week that I was going to be outside of His will if I didn't obey Him. And so I knew at that moment God was calling me to leave my job as head teacher, and I didn't know where. And I just felt it was important to be obedient. I did not want to be outside of the will of God. And so I prayed, Lord, what do you want me to do? I gave my school 10 months to replace me because I knew we had an Ofsted inspection coming. And so this was at Christmas. At Easter, I still didn't know where I was going next. And I was praying, and I'd heard about this organization called Kick that did sport, mission, and education. And I thought, well, I believe in mission, I am trained in education, and I love sport. And so I thought about this, and I thought maybe I should drop them an email. It was Good Friday, and I thought, no, 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 the office will be shut. I'll message them after the long bank holiday weekend. And so I sit down to watch The Passion of the Christ, the movie. I know it's not theologically perfect, but it gets me in the zone on Good Friday. And so as I'm watching this film, I get up to grab a drinks break and I check my emails on my phone. And the chair of Kick had emailed me saying, our director resigned yesterday to go and become a vicar. We've met this morning to talk about shutting the organisation. And as we've been praying, your name has come up. Would you ever consider leaving your job as head teacher to come work for us? I couldn't believe it, and so I I said, well, you've emailed me. I was about to email you, and so we went for a process, but not before Ofsted decided to come on my birthday. They came on May the 7th. They brought 5 inspectors for a 4-day inspection, really grueling. They don't do that anymore. They bring one inspector. And when they came, um, uh, if that had gone badly, I could have lost my job. But instead, we achieved outstanding in every single area of the Common Inspection Framework. There were 23 areas. That inspector had never given an outstanding grade in his career. And I knew at that moment that God had honored me for that step of faith. As I say, I'd resisted it for a year. In my ignorance, I tried to put my fingers in my ears that God was calling me out. But when I'd made that step of faith to stay inside of his will, he honored me. And then I came to Kick in the November. And when I came, coming back into this slide, I wanted to try to reimagine coaching from a head teacher's perspective. And so we did this through this values-based approach, unique to us, called ACE 2. And that simply is to provide aspirational coaching, a really wide range of different sports as we deliver physical education to national curriculum. Here, you've got the kind of 9 classic sports that we probably all played at school. And then we added Paralympic provision as a way of developing diversity, korfball as a way of developing inclusivity, table tennis and handball, great club-based sports, swimming, a brilliant sport for a school that has their own pool, boxing around pad-based work and discipline, flag football, the fastest growing sport in the UK, tri golf, Schools don't have to have opulent golf courses to still play golf through this sport. Skip to the Beat, we co-created as a brand new sport. And then volleyball, badminton, futsal, rounders, dodgeball, and wallball, we've recently added to our portfolio to provide aspirational choice around how children and young people experience sport in schools. But not only that, dance disciplines too. Street dance, break dance, locking, popping, stepping, house, otherwise known as hip hop, musical theatre. In fact, in one of our Church of England primary schools, we worked with them around a bespoke scheme of work about developing the Christian distinctiveness of their school. And so we looked at the 40 parables in the Bible, one for every academic week of the year, and built towards a performance piece of the prodigal son, lost sheep, and Good Samaritan. So it was this wonderful way of developing integrated academics, some RE through PE. Furthermore, cheerleading, creative improvisation, and then new for this year, Brazilian carnival, Bollywood bounce, Pilates, Afrobeats, and Zumba, as we've sought to extend the cultural diversity of the different dance disciplines we provide. So A is about aspirational choice, 40 different sports or dance disciplines. The C of ACE2 is that we believe in compassion. And so we are proud to be able to offer the solutions focused approach to mentoring, which builds on cognitive behavioral therapy, otherwise known as CBT, to help children and young people find the solutions to the problems they face. This diagram helpfully communicates what we do and how it works around helping young people manage their feelings, build self-awareness, empathy, social skills, motivation, and deepen their identity. And so this particular learner had a behavior management problem and was apathetic towards their learning when they were initially assessed. And so we worked with them around how to better manage their feelings and build motivation for their education. And by term 2, they progressed from this initial assessment to this yellow one. And by term 3, this blue one. And this service has trebled in size post-pandemic as children and young people are struggling in their mental health. The E of ACE2 is that we believe in excellent education. We believe in sport for all, not just the most gifted, talented, or affluent that can afford it. We can see that sport, dance, and mentoring can have a profound impact on the personal development of the individual, the social impact of a school community, and the physical literacy of children and young people. But more than that, we apply a Christian value to every lesson that we coach. And so we can coach the attributes of God as we go through the 9 fruits of the Spirit from Galatians 5. So this month, for example, we're looking at peacefulness. Next month, we're looking at patience. The month after that, self-control. And so we're training these spiritual skills, these deep life skills that can help children and young people, and using sport or dance or mentoring to do that. The first I of ACE2 is that we believe in intentional relationships. And so we want to listen to our children and young people. And Jaden in year 5, who would say he hates school, now says he looks forward to school when the kick coaches are in. He's found a role model he wants to be like and follow. Or Haley, who would say, who had existential depression. She now says that after working with one of our mentors, for the rest of my life, I will remember the kick sessions. Without my sessions, I wouldn't have lasted at school. And the final I of ACE2 is that we believe in integral interactions. So we're delighted to be able to provide schools-based chaplaincy. If I did it all again, I'd be a chaplain. I've got to tell you. And so here we get to apply these principles of being pastoral, worshipful, spiritual, missional, servant-hearted, prophetic, and pedagogic. And the functions of our chaplaincy can look like acts of worship through assemblies, drop-in sessions for pupils, lessons in RE, PSHE, or PE. Christian unions for those that might have a faith or want to explore it further, as well as building stronger connections between linked churches or other churches in the community to improve community relationships. All of our chaplains are trained in bereavement care. And what's exciting is this service is not just for the pupils, but for the staff and the whole school community as well. So that is a summary of our work in schools through these 4 services, and ACE2 is how we do it. This stepping stone of the Kick Academy is where we partner with local churches to upskill volunteers to run the Kick Academies. And these can happen in pathways of either football, dance, multi-sport, or running. And we can train you and give away the resources of how to do this. So what does a Kick Academy look like? Well, it's very simple. It's in 3 parts. The coaching, maybe half an hour's worth of coaching, then an inspirational thought from the Bible for 15 minutes, and then 45 minutes of application. So if I take an example of a football academy, for example, today's theme, everyone, is obstacles. We're going to look at this as we dribble around cones, beat a person on the wing, cross the ball in to have a competitive heading drill. Obstacles, obstacles, obstacles. Now, guys, grab a drinks break. We're going to share with you an inspirational thought from the Bible about today's theme, where Jesus got down in the mud, scooped some up, put it in the blind man's eye, and enabled him to see through the obstacles he faced. And how Jesus wants to work with us in the dirt of our lives to enable us to see him more clearly. Everyone get back up, get back out on the pitch, look for space to avoid the obstacles you'll encounter in the matches. And so, as you can see, it's a thematic approach of how these things link together. And so it's no surprise to the young people when we start talking about faith. And one of the really exciting things for our churches is that we've distilled down 20 years experience to make life as simple as possible for churches to set up Kick Academies. We can help you go from ideation through to execution by looking at these 7 questions for startup. And I want to encourage you that you may feel, oh, how would we do this? Have we got volunteers? I really want to encourage you that we've set up 15 church-based Kick Academies in the last 12 months as churches have realized that it might attract different types of volunteers to come and run these. Not the ones maybe that do the teas and the coffees or steward, but other people in the church that might be inspired to make a difference with the next generation. So why have we got this S of our solution to reach young people in schools and welcome them to Church of the Kick Academy? Well, we want to be 4D in our approach, to demonstrate God's love in the schools, declare the gospel in the Kick Academies, help young people make a decision about who Jesus is. And we saw 61 kids give their lives to the Lord in July, so that they can be discipled for a lifetime by local churches. So that is our mission, our movement. I'll close, our mission and our motivation. I'll close looking at our movement. We've grown from 17 schools a week to 107 in the last 7 years. We now engage 31,000 children and young people a week. Our staff team has moved from 7 to 97 in 8 years. It has been a miracle, and God has brought this miracle. In London, we've moved from working with 6 boroughs all the way to 28, and we desire to be in all 32, 33 boroughs in London. But there are 11.5 million children and young people in the UK that are in the 31,000 schools, and sadly not yet the 40,000 churches. And so post-pandemic, we made a brave decision to go national to the West Midlands, East Midlands, and the east of England, then to the northwest and northeast, planting satellite sites in the south and southeast as we started this journey to the 15 regions in 15 years. So what is our gift to you as churches in London? It is simply these 3 things. We would love to give away resources to help you run Kick Academies. And as our prayer for that piece, would you consider potential volunteers in your church that we could train to do this? Secondly, we'd love to train, to be delivering in your local church community. And so are there any schools you have contact with? We would love to meet some of the local schools, because then we can provide whole infrastructure and place missional Christians into those environments. And finally, we're creating new jobs. So if there are people in your church that are looking for work, please let them know that we are recruiting for coaches, mentors, and chaplains. We are very keen to grow our work in London and beyond. And so if there are people in your churches in need of work, well, listen, we employed 14 new members of staff in September, and we're keen to grow again. We won a new school just yesterday that we're going to need a member of staff for. So as I say, these are exciting opportunities, and we'll do nearly all the work, but you know your communities better than we do. So if you can connect us with people locally, that is always really helpful to oil the wheels and glue things together. Now we'll make this a bit interactive. Pick a picture, I'll tell you a story. Somebody be brave. Come on.
The eye.
The eye.
Yeah, yes. Oh man. So this is a really moving story. One of our children and young people was referred to us because they couldn't quite work out why, but she had a number of mental health challenges. And so we started working with her, and she confided in our mentor after building trust for 3 months that she'd been suicidal for a year. It was the anniversary of the night she left the house, went to a bridge, planned to throw herself off, got cold feet, came home, and hadn't told anyone for an entire year that she was suicidal. And so the mentor who was working closely with her said, look, I'm going to need to explain this to others in the school. We want to take care of your life. And so he shared with the safeguarding lead in the school, and they put a team around the child. And so the following time when they met up, he was nervous as to how she might react a couple of weeks later. And when they met, she said, thank you for giving me a reason to live. That was the first time I knew somebody cared enough about me to have a difficult conversation. And so again there, it's not always that our work is life and death, but in that moment, it really was. Pick a picture, I'll tell you a story.
Broken Cambridge.
Oh, I heard broken glass first. I'll go to Cambridge next, I promise. So broken glass. This is of a church in Hounslow. I noted there was somebody here from Brentford, so not far away. And this is a church called Hope Church, Hounslow. Now we work in 3 schools in the Hounslow area, and we were able to link with a church plant called Hope Church, and they wanted to set up a kick academy, and so they did that, and 7 kids came for 5 years, and they got to a point where they thought, is this really worth it? Lockdown hits, and they think, oh, maybe we should close the thing down. So they said to the parents, we're thinking of finishing this, and the parents pleaded with them not to do it. They said, our kids need something physical, and we're going to have to send them to sport on a Sunday instead of church if the kick academy can't run. And so they said, okay, we'll set it back up again. And after lockdown, they'd had a bit of a difficult time. They'd been moved to a different location in the community where sort of teenagers and sort of would smash beer bottles on a Friday nights. When they come, they'd have to pick up glass as well as dog feces from people that didn't clear up after their pets. And so they were saying, oh, is it worth it? Week 1, when they restarted, they had 14 kids. Nearly every kid had brought a friend. Week 2, it went to 22 kids. Week 3, 28. And it scaled and scaled and scaled until they had 140 kids a week. Now, that Kick Academy is thriving, and it's thriving in Hounslow. And we thank the Lord for that. It's led to 14 families coming to church as a result. And we are so grateful to the Lord for making that change and bringing real change in those young people. We ran a tournament this summer, and a number of kids came and from Islamic backgrounds that come to that Kick Academy and took a Bible home with them, and we were encouraged by that. So the next one, pick a picture. I think at least 2 people said Cambridge. I'll tell you this story. There was we went to Cambridge for the first time. We started working in a Church of England school there, We do work in community schools and Roman Catholic schools as well, but in this particular one was a Church of England school. And what they said to us was, they said, look, we've had a really hard time as a school. There was a bereavement there, and we'd really appreciate your support. And so what we did was the coach ran an assembly. He took out a £5 note from his wallet. He said, kids, how much is this worth? They said £5. He said, and what he did was he took that £5 note and he blew a raspberry on it. And then he scratched it on his backside. And then he put it on the floor and stamped on it and moved it around. And he said, and then he picked up the £5 note. He said, how much is this worth? And he said to them, do you ever feel like this? Sort of spat on, downtrodden, and going through hard times. But I want to encourage you, just like this £5 note, your value is still there. God still has innate value in you, and you're invaluable to him. And what was lovely was the head teacher said you could have cut the atmosphere like a knife. The children, young people were really moved by it. And she said tears were streaming down her face. And so again, in these moments, we value the chance to speak truth into difficult circumstances. So the last pick a picture I'll go with is one of Jesus, or an image of him. This is just to remind us of a chaplain that we work with. He came to me the other week. He said, I love my job. He said, what church leader gets a chance to share the gospel with 1,500 children, young people a week that aren't in church? And again, I thought, what a fantastic idea and a real vision. Through chaplaincy, if I did it all again, I'd be a chaplain, as I mentioned. We have an opportunity here to reach into the lives of children, young people. And while it is daytime, let's do the work of him who sent us, for night is coming when no one can work. So there's a little summary of what we do and how we do it. And I'd love to take some questions. My dog is scratching at the window, so at the door, so I must just let him in. But I hope you've had a chance to have a think about some questions, thoughts, feelings, ideas, and I'd love to hear those. I'll just let him in. 1 second.
Excellent. Well, everyone, to gather your thoughts. Job, just thank you so much for the presentation. It's really inspiring. And I was just reflecting as you were talking, thinking like, wow, you really give attention into the two important part of mission, which is how to connect with people where they will be really interested in connecting with you, serving them, serving their needs, but also bringing the gospel to them. And specifically in the concept of engaging with the school volunteers, or specifically Kick Academy. Sometimes the church leaders have this idea that, well, we don't have children or young people in the church. Is it possible actually for us to engage? Do you have to have kids?
No, absolutely. Look, this church plant, they had no children. They now have 140. They had no children. It was a church plant. It was a group of 15 people that went to plant a church. And now they have 140 kids on a Saturday coming to this Kick Academy, hearing the gospel every week. And they now have added all these 14 families to their church context. So again, absolutely, you don't have to have any children, young people. Equally, you may have some children, young people, and be nervous you're going to lose them. A child or young person in the UK is sadly 7 times more likely to be playing sport on a Sunday than coming to church. Oh, I just feel that is absolutely heartbreaking. And so can we provide alternative options? So instead of it being sport versus church, it can be sport and church together. And that's something we're keen for. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Who would like to ask a question? I saw a hand, but I skipped my mind. Go ahead, Henry.
Hello, Henry.
Thanks, Joe, for delivering that. That was really insightful. I think I've got 2 questions. What would the process look like for a church to partner with you guys and set something up in the local community? So who would we need to reach out to, and how long does that sort of setup take? And I guess the second part of that question, just to sort of throw it out there whilst I've got the floor, is around the volunteering piece as well. We've obviously got quite a few young chaps in our church that are sort of drawn to things like football and sports. Some of them are in employment, some of them sort of looking for employment. How would they go about connecting with you or the team to find some
So,
volunteering opportunities?
so I'm going to put on my chat my email address, and if you just drop me an email, we can set up a one-to-one, 30-minute Zoom call or something, and I can guide you through those 7 questions for startup around the
Perfect.
Kick Academy. It really is. We've really tried to simplify things to make it as simple as possible for churches to run a Kick Academy. All of our resources are online, so you could be at the side of the pitch or in the dance studio and just read them from your phone. There's a
Yeah.
verbatim talk there for the sports ministry slot, which you could either read out or you could kind of see the template and do it in your own words. But we make it as simple as possible for churches to do this, and we provide that ongoing advice and guidance. So around the Keek Academy, we'll make that really easy. Around the connection to local schools, I can draft you a template email to introduce me to the school, and so
Right.
that warm introduction helps so much, because as a former head teacher, you get bombarded with lots of cold calling from random people, but anyone that they know already, uh, somebody they know, like, and trust, if you introduce me, then head teachers always make time for that. So
Yeah.
again, that's a really easy way to get things moving. It's as simple as an email. And then with the jobs, we are recruiting right now, and so you can do 2 things. One, you could go on our website and just click on the careers page, and there's and just encourage those people to send in their CV, or you could email me and introduce me to the person, and we'll have a follow-up call, and I can connect them with our director of HR. So yeah, we equally I could draft something for a church WhatsApp group or for a notice, and you could share that with people with the link to the website. So again, yeah, we'd want to make that really easy for you, Henry, and we'd be very, very pleased to do that.
Yeah, perfect. No, thank you for that.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Joe. Georgina.
Hi, Joe. Long
Hello.
time no see.
Great to see you. I can't believe it's you.
You know
Your
what?
son
We
taught me
go back
everything I
years.
know. Please send my love to Eddie. I miss him.
He's just texted me to say send him my love. But
Oh,
my
love him too.
nephew works for Joe. I just saw him on one of your pictures,
Yes,
and
Johnny.
But Joe, Joe, we've been trying to employ someone to work with young people because we want to engage our young people in Tower Hamlets in Shoreditch, where you were for many years. And Dominic, I think, who became a Christian for you,
Yes.
also still works
Yeah,
for Eddie. We've just set
that's
up a
right.
children's home. But what I'd like to ask you, Joe, I love what you're doing. It's so exciting. It's wonderful. But, we've not been able to get anyone to come and work with us as a church who could do all these creative things, the reaching out, but also the helping within. Can you help us? I mean, I'd love to partner with you, but
We'd love that.
I'm also trying to do something to help what we're doing in the church, but also I want to reach out. I love it all, and I love Zumba. Oh, my days. And I do like football.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look,
So how can you help us?
well, listen, the way I look at this, we'll do 95% of the work. We will reach into your local schools, meet all the children, young people, and then invite them to come engage with you. And if we can train, and we'll provide that training to any volunteers that there might be in and around the church to help them. And we can do something called the Boost program, where one of our coaches can come out and be with you for those first few weeks to help build confidence and competency in either dance coaching or sports coaching. And so again, we would love to help you, but as I say, we'll do all the hard stuff. We'll recruit the people and run the service in the school. The way I'd look at it, is if you have got schools work running, great. If you haven't got any schools work running, we'll do it all for you, and we'll get the government to pay for it. And so again, you know, it's a fun way of working. We want to be a blessing, not a burden to local church.
I think for us to make it sustainable, like in the church, otherwise it just becomes like, you know, we've partnered with Crosstalks, which go into primary schools and shares the gospel. We're just supporting them, and we were going to join them, but that hasn't quite. We were going to help deliver. But I suppose what I'm thinking is we've tried to advertise for someone to work with children and families or young people. I will redesign the job description. We're just trying to get someone within our church so that actually it makes it sustainable and embeds it into the local church. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I've got some good links. Let's meet up, Georgina.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll connect you with some
So
really
sorry.
helpful people.
I'm loving what you're doing. I love it, and I've literally started doing Zumba the last year. I'm a Zumba queen. Don't know what I'm doing, but it's all of what you're doing.
We're going to get you running a Kick Academy, Georgina. You'd be great.
Well, Susie will love that, and Eddie. They're both in the church.
Brilliant. Well, excellent. I'm really pleased.
Joe,
Yeah.
thank you for this. One of the questions, I'm going to go to Tasua after, but one of the questions in the chat is the cost.
Yeah.
Do you have any roughly idea of what it costs to run the academy? And
it's a great,
before you
great
say that,
question.
I wanted to say specifically for small churches, sometimes the cost is an issue, but you could apply as well from the London Baptist. We have the Mission Partnership Funding Committee for mission.
Lovely.
So this church can apply to do that. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. So the beauty of our model is we believe that churches founded prisons, hospitals, schools, as well as government itself. The Prime Minister has got that word minister because they were due to minister between God and the people. And so we believe it's only fair that government should pay for mission today. So we charge schools for our services using government funding, and therefore we generate 90% of our income from the schools, and then we fundraise that last 10% so that we can give away our resources to local churches with no ongoing costs. We do not want to be a burden to you as local churches. We run a training day where we provide training in how to run a Kick Academy, and that involves, you know, the operations of how to set it up, how to apply the Christian value of, you know, the Christian message, if you like, and also how to do the basics of sport or dance coaching. So we run those training days. For those, we have to pay for a sessional coach to cover the coach to come out and run that day. So what we do is we ask for a suggested donation of the churches that choose to join the training day of £100. It's a suggested donation. If people can't afford it, never mind. But equally, what we found is sometimes with churches is if they go to their volunteers and they go, oh, we're going to pay for you to go on a whole day's worth of training. And if they take 2, 3, 4, 5 people to that, they haven't got to know that if it's 5 people, it's only 20 quid a head. You know, don't tell them it's that inexpensive. But as I say, it might be, Hanny, that with the London Baptist group, that might be something that churches could apply for. As I say, it's only at cost. It's just to pay for this other person to free up the person to come out and run the training day. And if a church really can't afford it, we will waive that. We want mission to happen, and we don't want money to be a problem for it not to happen. So it's why we enable your volunteers to run that, and we provide that infrastructure of 38 other Kick Academies that exist across the country. We run a tournament every year where people can come to. So there's that. We run, you know, prayer times for those Kick Academies. We provide a community for you, so you're not alone.
Thank you, Joe. Tasur.
Thank you, Henny. Thank you, Joe, for sharing such an inspiring. Hi. Such an inspiring and insightful presentation. Amazing. Thank you so very much. I have a question. For example, are there some particular or specific requirements for a church to become academy, like when it comes to size, or should we have a whole big hall or ground or something like that?
Yeah, well, in terms of location, what we would say is that we it depends what type of academy you want. Now, if you want, for example, we looked at the football one earlier, it could be that you do that in a church garden, in a local park, in a goals five-a-side sort of establishment. What a number of our churches do, they actually partner with the local primary school or secondary school, because invariably on a Saturday morning or a Sunday afternoon, there's no need, nobody's using their premises. And that's a really lovely way of community connection. Around a dance academy, often these happen inside the church building itself. And so there's a range of different ways. If you want to run a running academy, that could just happen from a park very easily. And you share the inspirational thought partway through or at the start or at the end. So again, location is really varied. And we would help you and guide you through a range of different ways of how to do that and what suits your community best. Keeping it local is important to us, and we'd support you to do that.
Thank you, Joe. Another question in the chat: is it possible for people with disability, mobility issues to get involved?
Oh, goodness. I love this question. We are so proud to work with a Christian organization called Through the Roof, and they have trained all of our staff in Paralympic provision so that we can help those that coming from vulnerable backgrounds to engage in sport, but also to level the playing field. I don't know if you've ever played goalball or new age curling or bocce at Paralympic sports, but if you put a blindfold on and you go up against somebody with a visual impairment, they will destroy you at goalball. They are amazing. Their senses are so much better attuned than a normal able-bodied person in that regard. And so what I would say is that is something we're really proud of. And we long to have a Keek Academy for those with learning difficulty and disability. That is something we would be very open to. And in terms of people getting involved, we do have a number of volunteers that are from that community that work in our Keek Academies as volunteers, and we'd always encourage that.
Thank you, Joe. We only have 4 minutes left, so if you have any other question, Paul, Jacob, could you just say out loud the question? In the chat is not very clear.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could run more than one academy. So we would be interested, I guess, in sport, maybe football, which I think we're looking at next year anyway, and also dance as well. We have a dance academy, which is a business from outside running our building, but just thinking that they may be part of this, or that it may be something that they'd be interested in running as well. And of course, the disability one we'd be interesting as well, because we've got some links with 21 & Co, which work with Down syndrome. We've got a Down syndrome association just up the road from us, and they use our building on occasion. So there's 3 sort of effective academies that we could look at doing. I'm quite excited by this, to be honest.
Really
excited as a treasurer, because there's not a lot of cost to it. Yeah, so that would be a really good thing to do, and we're getting a lot of like young people join the church who would. Sorry about the cat. You got a dog, I got a cat. Would be interested in getting involved, certainly from the universities and that. So yeah, it sounds really exciting.
Well, listen, you'd be extremely welcome to have as many of the pathways as you'd like. One of the things that we've absolutely loved doing is, again, sometimes there are different preferences, aren't there, for people that want to play football and want to dance, and that's great to have 2 options that engage sometimes just very different types of people. One of the things we've loved actually about street dance, it can be easy in our ignorance to think dance, that's just for girls. Street dance is 50-50 male-female ratio. Boys love it just as much as girls. And so again, that's been really exciting way of developing that as a dynamic. And we'd be very, very happy, Paul, to train you to run any of these and give away the resources that are unique to those different pathways. We'd be so chuffed. So yeah, please do message me your email. I'd love to follow up with you, and that would be really helpful and very exciting.
Well,
Perfect,
thank you. Thank you so much, Joe. We come to the end of our time, sadly.
Thank
But
you.
Naomi, you want to say something? Oh, you clapping. That's good. I wanted to say thank you so much. It's been very inspiring. Of course, I heard your presentation more than one time. I'm really blessed to know how your ministry is impacting many, many people. And I pray that more of our churches will be engaged and getting more of young people closer to the Lord and to the church. As I said earlier, we're going to have this recording in the website, as well as you will have a document that can give you information to connect directly with Joe and explore more. May the Lord bless you. Thank you all for making the time.
Thank you, Annie.
so much.
Thank
And,
you so
Andy.
very much.
Thanks, Joe.
have a lovely day.
Bless.